Bienvenidos y bienvenidas al Liverpool Show en español, tu canal para vivir toda la actualidad de Liverpool en tu idioma. Hoy os presento algo muy guay. Os presento la primera parte de una entrevista que hemos hecho con Machin. Vamos a hablar de su historia como aficionado del club, vamos a hablar de cómo compara este equipo a los equipos del pasado y también vamos a hablar del futuro, claro. Y mira, os tengo que pedir perdón porque la entrevista está hecho en inglés. Pero este canal es Liverpool Show en español, y entonces la cosa está subtitulado en español, ¿vale? Bye, y espero que os guste, ¿vale? Bueno, gracias.
Yeah, obviously, and like I said before, I've watched so many videos. You've got me through a lot of times, John, to be honest.
Oh, well, that's nice to hear. Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, that's one of the questions I was going to start with. So I've got a bit of a script. So
Okay. Fire away.
we'll see how it goes. So just to start with, obviously, like I said to you already, I've been a big fan of you for a while. I've always found that your appearances on Redmen TV keep me quite sane, because I know that when we're talking about these football teams and Liverpool and all this kind of stuff, it's nice to have a really calm perspective. And I think that you do have that calm approach to like the ups and downs of following it. The opening question would be, where does the current team rank in your history of following Liverpool?
Difficult to say, because we've just had an horrendous season when we were all so depressed that it's actually seemed a lot worse than it probably was. COVID and all the rest of it, and the way the world's going, made everyone really depressed, and the season didn't help. And I think that reflected back onto the season. And I think I said it on the Redmen that the season, when we look back on it in a few years' time, we'll realise it wasn't as bad as we thought. It just seemed at the time. We finished the season in third, which is amazing given what happened to us. So, I think maybe it wasn't that bad. But it's difficult to reflect on that team because they did lose 6 home games. So, but if you go back a year and the year before that, and basically since Klopp's arrived, we've steadily built up to probably the best Liverpool team I've ever seen.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the best Liverpool team for me had always been the late 80s, the team that Dalglish built as a manager, when he weaned himself out of the team and brought in Beardsley, Barnes and Aldridge, and Ray Houghton and players of that kind. They were just astonishingly good. And they were always, for me, the best Liverpool side, even though I'd seen fabulous Liverpool sides, early 80s, late 70s, mid 60s, all brilliant sides. And, certainly the side Klopp built compared with all of them, just a very, very brilliant side. Didn't lose football matches. That's a key. If you can go through a season and lose 1 football match or 2 football matches, that's sensational. And this team could do that. They were really, we're at a really golden period for Liverpool, I think. Have people there actually sorted out for you, so I was left wondering what to do.
It's just me in my spare room.
And I thought you were at Anfield looking at behind you. Well, if it's any consolation, that's where the Redmen started, in Paul's front room.
Well, it's so funny. I've been following them since, I think I started in 2012, maybe, like really early. Yeah, to see the progression's amazing. So yeah, we're a bit inspired by that, obviously, of course. I think they've sort of set the standard, really, haven't they? I bet you're so proud. I
am very, very proud, and particularly proud of this latest thing, the Endo doc.
It's brilliant.
Endo documentary, yeah.
Well, there, we might as well talk about it. I don't want to make it too much about that, but I know you're proud of it. See, the Redmen TV are huge now. They really have set what it means to be a fan media. There's no reason why you couldn't just follow them rather than the official outlet.
Yeah, I think a lot of people do, because it's probably cheaper than the official outlet.
Yeah.
And it's not. They can say what they like. That's the beauty of it. It started out that way, and there was a lot of swearing in the initial periods, because they were just lads having a laugh, and that they were free of constraints that the club would impose on, say, LFC TV, where you have to mind your P's and Q's. They can say what they like, and if you don't like what a player's done, you can say so. Thankfully, there's not been very many players we would worry about recently. They've all been so good.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see, not just obviously Paul and Chris's involvement, but your own involvement and how much you've obviously grown with it as well. Because I don't remember exactly when you were first on it the first time, but I do remember thinking, I always just think, is that his dad? I'm sure that's his dad. And then over time,
he did.
It was a bit more obvious.
He asked me to come on quite early on, but and it was a show sort of about the past, so he obviously thought I'd make a good person to talk about that. And then I think the next one was about Hillsborough, which I'd been to, of course. And so we had a very long time, and the feedback from that was sensational, really. Particularly in Norway for some strange reason. People like the moustache. And,
I think you're a bit of an icon.
My moustache became more famous than me.
I think it's one of those things where people who follow fan media, you see people who are a bit more maybe you can relate to, and you see people who've got such a wealth of experience with it and different backgrounds. And like I said to you before, when I'm watching the Redmen TV and when I know you're on it, I always feel like I'm listening to somebody that has seen it all before. So it's not to get too worried, not too excited. It's kind of a level-headed.
I mean, it was particularly good in years like 2014 when we came so close that I'd seen us win titles and I'd also seen us lose titles. So it was interesting to see how it was affecting the others because they'd never been through it. And I was there trying to calm everyone down and so that was quite interesting.
Yeah, I remember that was one of the questions I was going to ask you. That season had such an emotion to it, but like you've just said, you didn't really get so enthralled in it. Did that happen with Klopp? Did you find that you were getting caught up in it?
Yeah, I mean, I got caught up in 2014. It's just that I didn't get quite so carried away, but I was as disappointed as anyone. And but Klopp, it's been a nice growth with Klopp. I mean, he came in and said he didn't need to change any players, and we were all thinking he definitely does. And he went through that season, got us to a UEFA Cup final and a League Cup final, and we thought he's working miracles already. And then of course from then onwards his team just got better and better. Yeah,
it's match made in heaven, isn't it? When Klopp first joined, there was that moment with Brendan where it felt like it had come to an end and maybe that the sacking was needed. How did you feel when the news came through?
Well, I mean, I always felt, and I've said this a few times, that we've had managers like Roy Evans and Houllier and Benitez. Brendan Rodgers was the latest of them, where they finished second, and it's almost as if they've not got anything more to give. Second is the most they'll ever do. And the following season, it falls apart. They don't even finish in the top 3 or 4. They just seem to lose. It's if everyone loses faith once they fail. Whereas with Klopp, when we finished second, everyone said, well, we're going to win it next time. And the players believed they were going to win it next time. And that's the difference with Klopp. You knew coming second was just a stepping stone. And finishing the Champions League and getting beat by Real Madrid in all the circumstances that happened in that final, we all felt we were going to go back and win it. And, that's with Klopp, that's likely.
Yeah. Does Jurgen Klopp have that quality that maybe a Dalglish had when he was in charge?
I think so, undoubtedly. Yeah. I mean, but again, on a different scale, just like the players we have now are probably on a different scale. In them days, you might have one. They always said if you had 3 world-class players, you were going to have world-class players at our club. And, that's just the way. I mean, not just us, of course. Football's gone that way. It's because of the concentration of money in small areas, isn't it? Everyone now can afford the best players, and they're all in just a small pocket of places. Whereas in the old days, they'd be scattered around, one in a team here, one in a team there. So yeah, it is a different world from when Kenny was there.
Yeah.
But, Kenny in his day was as good as anything there was, and it broke my heart when he left.
Yeah.
Gracias por ver la primera parte de la entrevista con John Machin. Dejad un comentario abajo, dale al like, compartirlo con los amigos y nos vamos viendo. Gracias.